Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, everybody. I just got done watching the newest film, Mufasa, The Lion King, which is a prequel to, well, The Lion King. This movie actually picks up with us following Simba and Nala as they're about to embark on a journey that I won't spoil here, but they do have a young daughter who is too young to go with them, so they have to leave her behind and have her babysat. Who better to do that than Pumbaa, Timon, and Rafiki? While gone, Rafiki decides to pass the time by telling their daughter the story of her grandfather, Mufasa, and how he became to be the Lion King of Pride Rock. And in that story, we learn that Mufasa was once separated by his mother and father as a young cub due to a tragic accident, and the accident actually takes him really far away from home to the point where he's lost and he can't find his way back. So he's just scared and alone, and in trying to find his way back, he gets himself into some trouble, and this is where he meets Scar for the first time, who spots Mufasa in trouble and actually saves his life. In doing so, you learn that Scar actually wanted a brother his whole life, so he brings Mufasa back to his tribe and begs and convinces them to allow Mufasa to be part of their pact. Here's where like the first quarter of the film takes place. Eventually there's a time jump to the point where they're both young adults and something happens that forces Mufasa and Scar to leave their home and try and find this mythical, rumored island of Malele, which becomes the area of Pride Rock that we all know from The Lion King. So they go out on this journey to find this while also being hunted by a bunch of white albino lions that they had a previous run-in that didn't end very well. Along the way, they'll meet iconic people from The Lion King that I won't spoil here, but it is nice to see all the threads come together and how everything led to the events of the first Lion King. When Barry Jenkins was first announced to be directing this film, I got really excited because he's a really good director. He gets really great performances out of his actors and actresses, and he's a good storyteller. So I trusted that this movie would, if nothing else, be at least good. And that it was, but it was not amazing, and I'll explain why. Starting off with the good things, the CGI in this film is insane. It's easy to understand why people refer to it as the live action remake. There is nothing live action about this. This is all totally made in a computer. There's nothing real about it. But the CGI is done so photorealistic and so well, it's insane how you really think you're watching these lions and other animals interact with each other because it just looks so good. They bring back the iconic music from The Lion King here, and I'm not talking about like the songs, but the score. It peeks its head up here in moments that you'd want it to, and it's very effective. The performances from the actors portraying these characters are all also really well done. The guy doing Scar, the guy doing Mufasa, who is also our new Green Lantern. It's all great. And the overall story of how Mufasa came to be is very rewarding once you get to the end of this film. But the problem is, there's a lot of stuff in the middle that doesn't work. For starters, there's a lot of decisions that they make in this film that were just like whiplash almost. The heel turn that causes Scar to resent Mufasa is so absurd that after everything Mufasa and Scar went through, the brotherhood they shared, that he would turn on him for this reason. I found it really lazy and really forced, and I wish they found a better, more intriguing way of getting to that point. But I get it. We had to get to the point where you learn that Scar starts to resent Mufasa. I get it. It had to be there. I just wish the reason behind it was more rewarding. I thought the white albino lions that are hunting them the whole time were really good, especially since the main one is voiced by Mads Mikkelsen, who is having a blast here in this role. But they make a lot of really stupid decisions. It really made me and my girlfriend's head scratch why they were doing the things they were doing. I can't spoil it, obviously. And look, I get it. You don't want them to catch up to Mufasa and Scar and kill them. But for the sake of like continuity and making sense, there's a lot of times where they could have pretty much just like killed them in their sleep and just let them like live through the night into the next day where they would just keep hunting them. Like, it just seemed lazy and like they couldn't find good ways to keep them separated long enough to get to the end of the film where the final showdown would be. Like, it was just a lot of conveniences, and again, it just felt really lazy. I thought the first half of this movie was fun, but it started to drag towards the middle act, and I really just wanted them to get to the point where they were going to have this showdown because it felt like a lot of filler in the middle. Like, they knew how they wanted to start the film with this really strong story about Scar and Mufasa meeting as kids. They knew how they wanted to end it with Mufasa essentially getting to Pride Rock, uniting all of the land to help him fight back against these albino lions. In the middle, they were like, well, we need to get Scar to hate Mufasa Mufasa, but we're gonna have to pad that out for like an hour. And that's what it felt like. Kind of like a more boring version of Lord of the Rings, them just kind of traveling. And yeah, there are a lot of good action set pieces in the middle, but they're not as exciting as the last showdown that happens. So again, yeah, the middle just dragged, and it got to a point where I was just like, I want this movie to end already. And that's a shame coming out of a movie called Lion King. And last but not least, the music was not good here. I don't know what happened because it was done by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and look, you felt his absence in Moana, but I felt his absence in this, and he fucking did the music for it. There was one good song that I enjoyed, and it was between Mufasa and Scar when they were young cubs, but every song outside of that, there was just no standout here. Just like Moana 2 didn't have a standout like the I Am Moana song. There was no songs that I left thinking about or humming in my head. Honestly, the best song in the film was the original Lion King score that shows up at the very end where Mufasa finally takes his place on the throne of Pride Rock. So yeah, at the end of the day, this movie's fine. I think that I would have really disliked it a lot more if the ending didn't stick the landing, because once it gets to the last half hour, this movie is firing on all cylinders. It was everything I wanted it to be. It's emotional, it's moving, it's epic. It pays tribute to all the things you've seen in The Lion King, both the animated movie and the live action remake. It gets you on board with Mufasa, and you really get behind him, and you really like him in this movie, and you like watching him. It's just I wished he was doing something more entertaining in the middle of this movie. I'm gonna give this movie a 6 out of 10. If you really love The Lion King, I highly recommend it. I mean, you're gonna learn the backstory of these iconic characters. Just know what you're getting into, and that the middle act does drag a little bit. Maybe go refill your popcorn or something at that point in time. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you interested in seeing this movie? Have I given you a reason to see it, or have I given you a reason not to see it? I'd love to talk about it down below. And as always, guys, I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll catch you next time.